Welcome back to the Fuji Guys. My name is Francis. Today we are going to take a look at the brand new two lenses from Fujifilm, which is the XF200mmF2 and the 8-16 2.8. So if you want to know more, keep on watching. Alright, so first let's talk about the XF200mmF2. It is equivalent to 305mm in full frame equivalent. It is also weather sealed at 17 places. The barrel itself is made of magnesium alloy and the outside is made of aluminum. And in the box you'll get a newly designed 1.4 teleconverter, which will bring this lens to 427mm f2.8. So you basically get two lenses in one when you buy this lens. It also features OIS, which gives you 5 stops of stabilization. So if you want to shoot either handheld or with a monopod, you will get your shot stabilized at all time. And if you have the XH1, for example, it will actually be stabilized on 5 axis. Along with that, it features the linear motors, so that makes focusing really quick and snappy. And if you want to track subject as well, it's really quick to lock on focus. The minimum focusing distance is 1.8 meters, so if you want to shoot portraits, for example, it is actually really nice and you get that creamy out of focus bokeh with this lens, which is really dreamy. And personally, I see this lens used for wildlife and in sports and stuff like that, but for me, I really see that as a portrait lens because that's what I do, and I really enjoy shooting portrait with this lens. Now, if we look at the front of the lens, it has a 105mm diameter for filters. And if you look at the lens, unlike all of our lenses, it is actually a silver color. And that's for heat dissipation. So that way, when it's hot and sunny outside, the lens doesn't get as hot and it doesn't affect the image quality. Now, if we look around the lens, there's a few little features that are quite interesting. On the side, you have a little button there to go from full to 5 meters to infinity. So if you want to shoot closer objects, you put it to full so that way it can focus closer. And if you know you're shooting for far away, you put it to 5 meter to infinity. That way it restrains it from coming back to really close to really far. So that way it makes the focusing snappier. Down you have your OIS switch. And then right below that, you have the preset for using with the function buttons on the lens that you can set for AF. So if you want to, aim and push on the button and then focus with that, you can set it to preset. So that way you measure a certain distance, you lock it on, and that keeps in memory into the lens, and whenever you push the button, it comes back to it. So if you're at infinity, you push back and you had it set to 2 meters, it will come back directly to 2 meters. And the last one is basically AF lock. So if you just want to lock focus, hold it down and then you can shoot. And then next up, you have the collar. So if you want to go from vertical to horizontal, you don't have to actually turn the camera itself. You can just turn it, and there's this nice clicky spot to make sure it's right on level. And also, if you look at the bottom plate, it's actually an Arca Swiss standard. So if you have an Arca Swiss tripod head, you can just put it on and just lock it on and you're ready to go. No need to put an extra plate under there. So that's really cool. And then lastly, if you look at the lens hood, you have a little door for polarizing filter. If you want to quickly access it without removing the lens hood, you can just open the door and rotate it. Now let's talk about the 8-16. So to this day, the 8-16 is the widest focal length Fujifilm has. And if we turn that into equivalent to 35mm, it gives you a 12 to 24mm. And even though it's an 8mm, it's not a fisheye, it's a rectilinear wide angle lens. So even when you got objects on the corners of your frame, they're still straight, no curving like a fisheye would do. So that's really interesting. Now, the 8-16 is weather sealed as well. It features the nano GI coating, so very good control on the flaring and the ghosting. And to be honest, the quality on this lens, it's just stunning. Now this lens is mostly for landscape, I would say, which is not my strong suit, but I'm gonna try to take some pictures to give you an idea of how good this lens is. And with the 8-16, you can actually focus as close as 25 centimeters to your subject. So if you want to create some dramatic perspective and really get creative, this lens can do it. So again, this lens I think is pretty well suited for landscape, photography, as well as architecture. Again, I'm not really good at landscape. This is not my area of expertise, definitely, but I'm gonna try to take some landscape shots and then, just take shots with this gorgeous lens. All right, so this is gonna be it for the first look of these two lenses, the XF200mmF2 and 8-16mm 2.8. I had a great time shooting here out there in Saint-Michel-des-Saints, Quebec. Got out of my comfort zone and, had a great time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to know more about Fujifilm products, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and until the next time, c'était Francis pour les Fuji Guys.